Yeah.
My biggest downfall this year was the amount of repair bills I paid.
There's like $30,000 into this truck, and I'm like, if we sold it tomorrow, we'd maybe get 10.
I'm Mark Olson. Luke Gibson and I have a combined 50 years in construction as fence contractors. In that time, we have both experienced failures and success. We travel the country talking with other contractors who share their experiences in hopes that their stories can make you a more successful contractor.
We're here at the Fall Fence Forum. We thought we'd get a couple contractors in here and talk with you guys a little bit, and so we found a couple Iowa boys.
Yeah.
So we got Justin Nary with Taylor Fencing and
Ross Collins with
Ross
Post to
Collins.
Post fencing.
Post to Post.
Yep.
You guys are both ag fence contractors. We've got this big event. We're here at the Fall Fence Forum here in Worthington, Indiana. So you're a big highway guy.
Yep.
Right away.
Yeah, a lot of DOT fence.
DOT fence, and you're more of
Just
farm, small.
Yep. Farm and a little bit of hobby farmers.
Do you feel like buying a company was the right choice as opposed to starting from scratch?
Man, I don't know. I think there's pluses and minuses to everything. I mean, in my situation, it was already, the DOT aspect was already there. I mean, he'd already got his feet wet in that, and so I think for that reason it was a good purchase. You're also buying used stuff, and I mean, I suppose if you start a new business, you still have the same amount of debt probably, but you get newer stuff. There's different things I think that.
What were some of the pros that both of you guys saw from buying or taking over an existing business as opposed to maybe starting from scratch? And
I'm paying for blue sky anyway, and getting that client list, and so it was nice. You know, we had when I was in the process of buying it over, we already had a month or two of work lined up, so it was a good feeling knowing that there's not a shortage of work at this point anyway, and his name was pretty known in the area, so it helped out a lot there. So that was a big benefit I saw anyway.
Yeah,
you're getting a phone number, and the phone number's already ringing.
Yeah.
You don't have to establish that.
And with like a lot of those state jobs, I mean, you bid them out a year in advance. So when I take over and whatnot, you've got years worth of contracts that you've already got set up, and you're not trying to figure it out your own way and get in there.
So what are some of the disadvantages you guys feel that there was because you took over? And there's pros and there's cons there.
Used equipment.
Yep.
I think that's the
used equipment.
You're under the impression that us people that start from nothing start with the best stuff.
No,
jack crap.
a lot of our skid loaders have 4,000 or 5,000 hours on them, and all our trucks have got hundreds of thousands of miles, and you fight. I don't know, sometimes you fight repair bills.
Let me tell you a secret. When you have brand new equipment, that stuff wears out. And stuff that I bought brand new 5 years ago has got 4,000 hours on it.
Yeah.
The key there is, I think, is profit. Without that profit and without good profits, you don't have the money to replace it.
Yeah,
well, and I think that's how both of us, we bought a business where we're already in the profit.
One of the things I think from an outsider, I started from nothing without having a father or a business to take over, and started from nothing. One of the benefits I see is that when you take over a business from somebody that's already been in it, you have a mentor. You have somebody that can kind of guide you and help you, because hopefully they were running a successful business before you took it over. As those guys kind of wean their way out, did you find value or did they offer some of that mentorship?
Oh yeah, I mean, the guy I bought my business from, he's always a phone call away, and he's been a good mentor. And as far as state fence, there's a lot of the mentoring you need's in the paperwork and the certifications and the insurances and all that stuff. So I think having a mentor on that's probably one of the biggest benefits, I guess, of purchasing a already successful company.
I saved a bunch of money because I started from scratch. I didn't have to pay for the blue sky, but what I saved in money, I paid in money from all the bad lessons that I had to learn on my own. And that's one of the things these videos try to help do, is they try to help people from making those huge mistakes and listening to the stories. So in the time that you guys have been out on your own, give me one huge mistake that you wish you wouldn't have made. The biggest one that cost you the most money or the most heartache?
Oh man.
Yeah.
My biggest downfall this year was the amount of repair bills I paid before I decided that it was worth money to actually go out and trade it in or get something new. Multiple breakdowns on skid loaders, renting skid loaders to replace them and stuff, and you just look at the money that you spent when you get into, $40,000 repair bill there in 3 months. You're just like, well,
in the poker world, we call that pot committed.
Yeah,
You get so much money in there, you got to stay in it for the long haul, and then pretty soon, to your story, we have a Ford that we bought at an auction, got it into the shop because it needed some repairs, and ended up putting $5,000. They didn't tell me how much it was going to be, and I get the bill, and I'm like, dude, we just paid $5,000 to repair a truck that's not really worth that.
Yeah.
And then we had problems with it, and that dealership ended up putting a brand new motor in it. And then the transmission went out, and we put a transmission in it. There's like $30,000 into this truck, and I'm like, if we sold it tomorrow, we'd maybe get 10. Just once you start feeling like they're nickel and diming you, it's probably better to
cut your loss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think my other downfall was I've lost a couple jobs for stupid reasons, as far as state contracts and bigger jobs.
Stupid reasons, technicalities.
Yeah, technicalities.
Filling out your bid form wrong, or
didn't put it in a sealed envelope.
Oh yeah.
Stuff like that.
I was 5 minutes too late, and it said the bid time was.
Yeah.
It was 2:00, and I got it there at 2:02. I've done that.
Yeah,
The
hopefully.
rules matter. When you're doing
The fine print matters.
Yeah, the fine print matters.
Absolutely.
What about you, Ross?
Yeah, I'd say leaving money on the table for some jobs, because I would take how I base my price on install. It's all off what the old boss man charged, and we bid every job the same, and we don't really factor in ground and how many corners and stuff like that, how much more time it's going to take to do that. We just flat rate everything to some degree anyway, and I've ate a lot of money on quite a few jobs over the years anyway so far, that had I maybe bid it just a couple $100 more or a couple dollars a foot or whatever, then it would have made me more comfortable, and I wouldn't have felt like I'm losing money the whole time.
What we find is that, whether it's 50 feet or it's 500 feet, it costs us the same amount to get to the job.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
People don't always understand that. So if I bid it by the foot and I'm $5 a foot, I'm going to make the same amount of money per foot, but I could lose a ton of money just because I got to load up in the morning, I got to get all my equipment there.
Right.
And a lot of people don't really understand that. It's hard for them to understand, so it's those small jobs should cost more.
Sure.
Absolutely.
And you've got to figure that in corners, things like corners. Chain link fence, we use a ton more fittings on corners. Takes a ton more time because especially if we got bias cuts and stuff like that, all that termination. Putting the per foot up is real easy. All the work is in the corners and the bracing. That's where it all is. So if you have twice as many corners on the same linear foot of fence,
Right.
it's a lot more money.
Well, and I just ran into that. I had a lady wanted me to quote her on some residential chain link, and I came in about 7,000, I think. I forget the footage. She messaged me back, well, how much can I get for 1,500? I can put in, and it's going to cost about the same much amount to do 50, 60 foot, because it's going to cost me the same amount to get there. And I'm going to have a day's worth of labor.
What's the best decision you guys think you guys have made over the course of your business?
Buying it.
Buying it? That was a good decision.
Yeah.
So you'd recommend that if somebody had the opportunity to, obviously if you're paying too much blue sky, it could sink you.
I don't know. I think every situation is going to be different.
What about you, Ross? Best decision? And
Best decision I'd say was, in all honesty, I think joining the Facebook page, because in our area anyway, it's either hedge post or creosote post.
hey, look, it's the other guy.
Oh yeah.
The other guy, he's running around like a chicken with his head cut off.
Oh yeah, just joining that Facebook page, and because like I was saying, it's a lot of hedge posts and a lot of creosote posts.
Red brand,
and that's, if you're not using red brand, then you're not building good fence, I guess. And so
if you're wearing flip-flops, you're definitely not a fencer. I learned that. If you fence in flip-flops, dude, no credibility whatsoever. You are
that's
absolute
manly.
trash.
Sure thing.
Trash.
Manly.
I'm very secure in who I am.
There you go.
Yeah, I was gonna say, had it not been for Facebook, I'm sure I would have found out over time or whatever, but what led to us using pipe is we switched over to, we've had one job this year where we've been using wood post. Everything else is all pipe now. And for us, we're just more efficient at that, and it's more enjoyable for us to use pipe. So having the pipe has been the biggest thing I've
in our business, we really like anytime we can get an engineered product rather than a natural product.
Sure. Yep.
We just feel like there's a lot of benefits. So using Postmaster posts as opposed to using cedar posts or pine posts. I mean, anytime we can eliminate that variable of I got to call back because something split or worked or whatever. I mean, I'm just a big fan of that.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's engineered to do its job and serve its purpose, and those are things that they didn't necessarily have available to them back in the day. And that's one of the big things we're trying to do is change people's minds about fencing. It's not the fencing your grandpa did. We've got better materials. We've got a lot of new methods.
Sure.
We're trying to get people to understand that there are definitely better ways to do that.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Absolutely.
If you want to convince people of the new ways, don't wear flip-flops though.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Hard sell.
That's a hard sell. How about employees? Employees,
How about
team members? How about them?
How about
Let's
them?
talk about one of the favorite things we love to talk about. You know, I'm sure that you guys are just loaded up and you have people beating down your door because everybody wants to be a fence builder, right? Everybody wants to go out there and sweat in the sun and freeze in the cold to build fence. It is a highly sought after. You want to jump in here, other guy?
What do you need?
Come on, jump on in. If you're done. We weren't trying to be rude.
We're talking about employees, our favorite topic.
Would you like to talk to us about team members?
Oh, team members.
And the next question is going to be, give me your best team member story.
Oh man.
Come on, yeah, you already know it. You're thinking
I
about
got
it.
one for you. My wife had just traded her car in, had drove the new car home, parked it in this warehouse, had 37 miles on it.
Oh yeah.
We left
This is
the
good.
weekend and came back on Monday, and Bart says, I got something I got to show you. And he had pulled the car outside, and he was grading the driveway, just backblading with the skid steer, and backed it slap into the back of my wife's brand new car. And it wasn't bad, and it's just a car. It's something we can fix, right? But Bart got a significant raise that Leslie and I had already talked about, and I had his paycheck in my pocket, and I handed it to him, and I said, well, it'd be okay. Well, you know, it's just a car. And the car's still dented. We didn't fix it. It's brand new. You know it's going to get another scratch or two.
Yeah, that's true.
But if it's somebody that you value, now if that's the same kid that's done that 10 times in a row, maybe this is the catalyst for moving on.
Sure. Yep.
But if it's somebody that you can't get by without, and you've seen it around here, we're pretty lean. We don't have lots of people to pick from, so taking care of your family is the way to do it.
The worst story I heard was on Facebook. Somebody said, let's hear your worst employee story. And somebody actually took a pickup and like murdered their wife. Somebody told the story on Facebook.
In the company truck, and they're like, yeah, and so this is all over the news, and this. I'm like, I mean, you can't top that.
I hope I never get to. I hope I never get to.
You're like, I mean, there's some stories out there of employees. Now, Dave Ramsey says an employee, somebody shows up late, leaves early, and steals where they're there, and that's why we call them team members, because we want somebody that's playing on the same team.
Sure.
So we have our uniform. You've got your uniform there, tailored fence.
Sure.
We're big into uniforms because that's just what you do.
Right.
So what are you guys doing to combat the labor shortage and not being able to, or struggling to find good people and then keep them?
This year I haven't really had issues, but the turnaround last year was just unreal. It was just 18 employees, you know, going through, and
We've had the ones that come to the interview and say, I'll see you Monday, and
never
hear
show
from
up
them again.
Yep. I've had those. But no, this year I've increased pay from what I was making, and I think that's the big thing. They'll put more time and effort into your business if you put more time and effort into them. So I try to treat them the way I wanted to be treated, I guess, as an employee. So
And that goes down to the pay. I think I see a lot of people, and I see a lot of numbers thrown around on Facebook and people talking about what they're paying, and I'm like, how in the world do you expect that person to have any quality of life on what you're paying?
Right.
If they can't make it, you really expect somebody to stick around for 10, 12 bucks an hour, and they can't live off that. Nobody can live off that.
no, I wouldn't want anybody.
How in the world
to
do you
live off
expect
that.
them to be able to raise a family, and if they want to grow in that career, do you want to work for that?
No,
Heck
right,
no.
no. You want to start them off at a wage that they can respect, but that they still have room to grow. Because I mean, a lot of guys coming in, they don't know what they're doing.
people say money is not everything, and I agree, money is not everything, but you have to have enough money to basically attract them to it so that you can hook them,
Right.
and so that they can learn to respect what you do and respect the trade.
Right.
If you don't ever pay enough to actually get their attention and so that they can survive while they're trying to learn the new skill, you're never going to be able to keep them.
Yep.
And you can't save money by down paying employees.
As the employer, the person that writes the paycheck anyway, it's important to understand that first, however long it's going to be, however long it takes you to get somebody trained up.
Yeah.
If it's 6 months and you're making money on a new guy, then you've done pretty well.
Right.
So if you can get to break even with that person at 6 months, and they're where you can trust them to go do something, even though they don't have the efficiency yet, but you know their quality's there, then you start building it up. But you don't get somebody like that for 12 or 15
No.
bucks an hour, or even 20 bucks an hour.
Yeah, yep.
It just doesn't do it.
You got to find the people that are trainable.
Right.
We have realized a long time ago that we're never ever going to get somebody that knows how to build fence. We'll get people that say they know how to do it.
Yeah.
We're never going to find those people that really know how to do it. So we're going to have to train them. We're going to have to invest that time in them. But if we pay the right amount and we offer the right benefits and we treat them correctly, then we have the opportunity to train the right people that are willing to learn.
Yeah.
And they grow with us, and that's what we found. And then they stay with us.
Yeah. Yep. You know, if you're having to retrain a guy every 6 months or 4 months,
You don't make any money.
you're not
with it.
making any
Right.
money.
Yeah.
So
And that's what I am kind of gearing towards now. It used to be, well, I just need more guys. Well, then it's hard to manage that many guys. Just trying to start the business myself, and so this past year and a half anyway, I'm gearing up. I'm basically just planning on me working by myself most of the time. So if I got to do the work, I want equipment, machines, or whatever to make my life easier. So I'll build the business up kind of that way, and then hopefully in a couple of years, I'll be able to attract and attract team members, employees, whatever, and say, hey, we can build fence, but it's easy work because we got all this equipment, machinery, and stuff like that.
And I think you touched on a good point too. You know, buying the right equipment, because if you don't want to do it the hard way, why?
Right.
Exactly.
Invest in that equipment, because the more wear and tear you can save off of your guys.
Oh, yeah.
Now, why would you ever want to dig holes by hand if there's a piece of equipment
Right.
that can do it 10 times faster and
Yeah.
without wearing your crew out?
Yeah.
Right.
So every time we have the option to invest in a piece of equipment,
Yeah.
you know, whether the price tag's $10,000 or $50,000, we have to really seriously consider that, because usually we find that it can both increase productivity and save wear and tear on our guys. There's no
Absolutely.
sense in destroying your back and doing all
Right.
these things when there's things that do that.
Yeah.
And the guy that I learned to build fence from, we did everything. The best piece of equipment we had was a 9-inch tractor with a 3-point auger and horses. Literally horses. So I know all about doing things the absolute hardest way possible.
That rough as it gets.
We invest pretty heavy on equipment. You can see walking around here. You know, 3 guys, we've all 3 got a truck that's set up just
Yeah.
how that guy wants it set up.
Sure.
We're not, you know, we don't swap trucks. You don't have to go get and you don't have to put somebody else's shoes on. You know.
Yep.
And same with equipment. I mean, we've all got the equipment that we run when we go on a job. I'm on an Evo, and Clint's on an Evo, and Bart's usually in a skid steer or on the excavator. And I mean, it's all nice stuff. And every chance you get to run something with a cab and air conditioning, the dust and whatnot,
Yeah.
and mow and brush, and that's hard on your lungs,
Yeah.
your body. And
Yep.
if
Long
you can stay
term.
more comfortable,
Yep.
then your guys are more comfortable, and they'll give you that 12, 13, 14 hours.
Sure.
yeah, absolutely.
When they need to, which we don't push for that very often, but
Try
when
not
you
to.
have to.
Yeah. There's certain times.
Yeah.
You
And
bet.
it's just a show of appreciation. I mean, we've done it. You know,
Yeah.
we've run the junk equipment,
Right.
and you're broke down on the side of the road all the time.
Right. Yep.
And so you spend the money on the equipment, and you spend the money on the people,
Right.
and before you know it, you're actually making money.
Yeah.
Sure.
In closing, if you could offer one piece of advice to a new person getting ready to get into the fence business, start a company or buy a company, what would that be?
I'd say find a niche or niche, however you say it, but just find something. I mean, you can have your standard fence that everybody wants, but then bring something new to the table or new to your area anyway that you
So
can.
that's the USP that we always talk about, unique
Okay.
selling proposition.
Okay.
Get your USP.
Yep.
I think you also got to dive in. You got to come to stuff like this. You know, get in touch with people and
Network, yeah.
come in with
I don't have
come up.
time. I don't have time to come out here. I'm too busy.
You don't always have time, but just make time.
Yep.
Make time.
It's
They'll pay you.
it's
Yeah.
reinvigorating to be at this stuff. To go and network with the people that are like-minded and share the same
gets you
passion
excited.
as you are.
It gets you
Yeah.
excited.
I mean, and you can learn a ton.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you might
Definitely.
lose a little bit of time now, but I guarantee it pays dividends in the long run.
Sure.
To
yeah.
get plugged into things like this and the AFA and just
Right.
get plugged in to
Yep.
people that care about the same thing you do.
Exactly.
Well, and I've got a good crew, and they're out working right now while I'm doing this. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, same here.
That should be everybody's goal. I mean,
that's your goal.
If you can be making money
That's
while
what
you're
we-
out.
Yeah,
That's what we were talking about. If that's not your 5 or 10 year plan, at least as a business owner, to be able to go do some things while you have a crew that you can trust.
When I crashed and burned, the one thing that I said to myself about success is that when I have a company that runs with or without me there, that's my definition. It's not a dollar amount.
It's
It's
not.
when I can claw
Absolutely.
back some time and when I can leave and it moves on, or when the truck hits me and I'm dead and it still moves on.
Right.
Absolutely.
That's success. I've had
Yep,
success
yep, yep,
as far as
definitely.
business is concerned. Now, I'm hoping that there's some money that comes with that, but that's my one definition of success.
Sure thing.
Well, that should be everybody's. I mean, if you're going into the entrepreneur, start your own business, and you plan on working 7 days a week until you're 63 years old, 64 years old.
That's self-employment.
That's exactly.
You own your job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what you do.
Yeah.
And people will knock team members having, I just don't want that. I don't want the hassle. But you can't ever hit my definition of success without good team members on your side. It's because I have people like Veronica back in the office. I mean, you want to talk about rock stars. I mean, you've got to have rock stars, and I just want to walk in the room one day and realize that I'm the stupidest person there.
Yeah.
And I don't
Starting
even
to be
need
that
me.
way around here. I mean, which is what's made it where Mark and I can go visit people like you guys.
Sure. Yeah. Yep.
If we weren't making money at home, then we couldn't go do
Sure
that because this
thing.
doesn't pay anything.
Right.
But man, I love doing this. This charges me up. I love to talk to people.
Yeah.
This is what gets me going.
Yeah.
Yep.
This is where it's at for me today. I love to build fence. Don't get me wrong, but this is where it's
Yeah.
at.
You learn a lot.
Yep.
And to share that with other people and hopefully help people not make the mistakes that we've made.
Well, the building fence part of a fence business
Yeah.
is so small.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Because without the rest of it, this part doesn't matter because you're not going to do it for very long.
Right. Yep. Exactly.
Yeah. No. Absolutely.
Well, guys, I really appreciate you taking some time. You did
Yep.
great.
Yeah, thanks.
A little unexpected, but
Hey,
hopefully it worked out
I
all
think we
right.
should check back
This'll-
in with them about 6 o'clock and see how they feel.
We're gonna be passed
See how
out.
excited they are.
We're
About
gonna be
this.
passed out.
so these guys are going to compete in the competition. As they mentioned, they didn't plan on doing that, but they're going to give her heck.
Yeah.
got the
Yeah.
Hyundai.
We figured we had to
We're gonna-
represent Iowa anyway.
We got some unrollers hooked up to that Hyundai, and we're
Yeah.
gonna give her heck.
All right. Well, thanks for taking some time and talking
Thanks
to us.
for taking
Hopefully
some
your
time.
stories help other people, because you're the first people we've talked to that both of you have bought an existing business. So it's interesting.
Really?
your
Yeah.
We had a good
perspective.
8-hour drive up here, and we talked a lot.
Yeah.
We got a lot of similarities.
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
what
That's
we do.
that's for sure.
So.
Different scale anyway.
I don't have anything else to add. Do you?
You're shrinking, by the way.
You've got pre-COVID.
I know I can touch the floor now. So now I'm all.
Hey,
I guess I wondered about that.
You should have bought a better forklift. This thing made me short again. So until next time, you have a good dang day.